Hello, everybody. It's CJ Miller. I'm in Shreveport, Louisiana, and across the Red River, which I'm not nearby right now, is beautiful Ocean City, Louisiana. If I sound a little slurry, it is because I had just come from the dentist and I'm numb, very numb. Yeah, I barely feel my half of my face, and I'm just trying not to bite my tongue. Um, but while I'm on this side of town, I want to take a little walk around and talk about this area that I never really. I'm not really. I used to live here. I used to live in this area, and it was a daily thing. So I'm going to talk about that. Actually, for a few times, I was very nomadic for a long time, and this is Betty Virginia Park in Shreveport, Louisiana. And what I remember, this that children's playground right there, and there's other play. It's a huge kind of it's like from here, and it goes back 2 or 3 blocks. It's one of the bigger parks that we have. I'm sure in bigger cities there are bigger parks. In fact, I know there are. Uh, but yeah, this could hold its own. This could hold its own against some of those parks. But yeah, I'm not going to walk the whole path, but there are paths all the way through it and everything. What I can tell you is that all that equipment used to be metal. And you had those, metal slides, and it would burn you when you slid down it in shorts. And then there used to be, and it's not there anymore, that really wicked, evil clown swing. It was like a clown face with the swing on each side of it. And it was scary and rusty, and you could get rust, stuck in your skin and everything. And then further, I'll walk over the little bridge here, over the. So this is, you know, uh, most of the world has these drainage ditches, irrigation, whatever, plumbing, whatever. Uh, Ours are built along the natural path of bayous that run throughout the state. So sometimes we'll call them drainage ditches. Sometimes we'll call them bayous. But we used to play in that. We used to run around and play in them. And I don't know, without the concept that really what you're doing is playing in a great big giant toilet bowl when you're playing in those things. Okay. There was, and I know that you guys will remember it, somewhere between here and the field, like right here somewhere, there was a really tall, rocket, and it was like a blue rocket that was pointed and stuff. Hi. And so yeah, and you would get in. The whole idea is that you would get inside and climb and everything like that. But I don't know why it was metal. Maybe they just came through and redid stuff and reevaluated. But I know that as a teenager and a young adult, we'd come here after hours and climb in that rocket and partake in things that should not be partaken of. So maybe that's what it is. I mean, maybe the teenagers grew into adulthood and became parents and realized what we did, the kids could now do. And so maybe they were like, oh, hell no. But anyway, that's a fun memory. I love this park, even though it's changed. One memory I'm not too fond of. I was raised in a fundamental Baptist church, and we'd come here, after Sunday school. Frequently, they would bring us here by the busloads, 6, 7, 8 busloads. Like as many buses as you would send your people to school with. You know, busloads of elementary school age children and some teenage children, and they turn us loose on this vast park with handfuls of biblical tracts and set us loose to go about what we called soul winning. So not witnessing, not blah blah blah, soul winning. That's what they called it. Basically, door knocking, but in a public space and whatever. And what they didn't prepare us for is that people don't want to hear that. The whole idea was for us to go out and meet our peers and to draw our people into our peers. Very, in retrospect, I feel that's a little cultish. I feel like it's a little cultish to go out in any endeavor and try to bring people in. And if you don't believe me, does anyone remember Tupperware? uh, there was never more of a cult than Tupperware, except Mary Kay or Amway. any of those. It's like, what they would do is they would get you and, oh my God, here's something, and you can believe in us and believe in this way, the pyramid schemes. I will say that back, and I think Mary Kay is still active. You can still order that stuff online. I don't do door-to-door representation anymore. I did for a little while in the 1990s, but I got too busy with cosmetology and then theater and everything, and just basically also taking care of extended family, which, that, I don't know, I didn't get the passion for Mary Kay Cosmetics. I did it first, and then it kind of like died down when I realized it was a job, and that if you do any kind of pyramid scheming, if you do partake in something like that, make sure that it's in an area where there's a population for it, number one, that you can get out and meet people for it, and then number two, that that the market's not saturated. In the 1990s, Mary Kay was still a word of mouth company, so you didn't go door to door and all that kind of stuff. So there's a random dog running loose, someone across the street. Is she friendly? Oh, okay. Well, let me step up here then. As long as he's okay, we're cool. So, yeah, but I do want to. Where am I? Yes, this house. I'm going to walk over and stalk it real quick. People are really friendly here, we hear a lot of stuff about Shreveport, and there's like, Louisiana, just in general. But there are some wonderful people. Oh, it's okay. I'm okay now. As long as now I know he's cool. Now I know that he's friendly. She's probably more worried about me contaminating than I've been. Frisky little thing. Dogs love to play. Okay. Cecile Place. I used to live here. There was a friend of mine, sort of a mentor, a hairdresser that I looked up to, lived on the second floor, and then the manicure nail technician lived on the first floor, and we actually were kind of an item for a while. We kind of lived together for a while. Let me tell you, it was a very chaotic time in my life. I was 21. I was 21. I hadn't turned 22 yet. I can tell you that, he had some things he was trying to get out, and I had some things I was trying to get out. And we made a go of it, but we became really good friends and remained friends for the longest time. And then over time, I pick up a nomadic life, and we kind of lose touch. But good memories. I remember shortly after we did break up, that I used to drive by the house, just to see the house and just to think about the people. And I remember one time, Richard, the upstairs neighbor, he was having a birthday, and I came by with the birthday cake and couldn't, I missed them. So basically, left the birthday cake uh, with the note, and I hope he got it. I think he did. As a matter of fact, I think he did. Somebody said it was sweet or something. But yeah, uh, I think what it is maybe he wasn't home, so I ended up leaving it with David. I forget. David was the nail technician. I'm not going to use last names, but yeah. Oh, I remember what David said. He was in. I never asked. We never, he was wheelchair bound, but he was so active in his life and had the most wonderful circle of friends and just a great guy. Uh, I think of him as one of the great loves of my life, even though we were way better suited to be friends. my numbness is coming from, sorry, I just said friends. We were much better suited to be friends than, anything more. But yeah, and they all worked together at this one shop owned by this one barber, and uh, since then they all kind of split off and did their own thing. But yeah, it was just a really cool time. A nice little circle of people to have briefly been acquainted with. What else can I talk about this side of town? Oh, I didn't tell you, on the other side of Betty, Virginia Park, one or two streets over is Baltimore. And I wasn't laying up in some guy's house. I was actively paying for a good chunk of this house with him that we were buying through, private sale or whatever. Of course, everything was in his name. And so that's one of the examples that I got. Hey, if you're going to do anything financial, never just give the other partner all of the power, because when it came time for that relationship to end, well, if you give everybody everything, then you have no safety net, and you're at the mercy of that other person's trust. And quite honestly, people do desperate things for love, and they do desperate things when love is over. So, yeah, just remember that a romantic relationship, or even a close family partnership, should always be predicated, if there's going to be a financial entanglement, by contract. Personal relationship, no matter how good, should never be unaccompanied by a contract if there's a large money investment involved. That's my tip for the day. Okay. I'm actually talking pretty good for a man with like half a face. And I'm also walking, doing, I could be taking the bus, but it's like it feels great out here, and I want to get more exercise. So, and I haven't really explored this. Oh, down this way, there's a house, and it's kind of a nice, huge house, but I will tell you what I love about it. I've been blessed to have been inside. The fireplace and the flute of the fireplace is actually an organ, like a large pipe organ. Not an organ, but the pipe from an organ, from a great organ that was having some work done or something. For some reason, the guy got the pipe and incorporated it into the decor of his home. And, he's a great organist. So, yeah, it suits. I don't think. Oh yeah, okay. If you stick with me one more block, I will find some things to ramble on about. I want to show you this one storefront, this one little building, and I'll give you a little insight to my life at one point, because I truly was, and it's hard to imagine, but I truly was a workaholic in my late 20s, going into my 30s. Even, with some of the addictions and everything. And if you know anything about addiction, you know that addicts or alcoholics, whatever kind of addiction, a big part of that becomes work addiction often. I told you about the house that I lived in across from Betty, Virginia Park on Baltimore. So I would take this walk. It seems like it's a large walk, but it's not. We're almost where I need to go. But I would take this walk and I would go to my first job, which was a health food and vegetarian restaurant and bakery. It wasn't vegan, but vegetarian. And there were two exceptions. One was a tuna salad, like a mayonnaise tuna salad, and a mayonnaise chicken salad. Those were the only two meat items that they had. And the couple, they found the restaurant, they found their place, they found their space, and it was a thing that nobody else was doing. We had Sunshine Foods, and they have a little sandwich shop and everything, but nothing quite like this, because they also, hey there, hey, it's okay. They also, yes, it's okay. Hello, I'm just walking. Okay, so also, if I try to climb over there, he'll probably lick me to death like the other dogs. I don't know. He seems friendly. I'm not gonna try. If you want to burgle someone's house, what you do is you take some beef or bacon or hamburger meat or something like that, and you feed it to the dog through the fence and get them used to you and become their friend. And that way, when you come to burglarize the house, they're not going to bother you. You throw them their issue of beef, and they won't be guarding anything. Of course, that's dog dependent, and I'm not trying to tell people to go out and burgle houses. But, if you're going to do it, be smarter about it. Okay, so, yeah, I go to my I sound like a cartoon when I'm talking. The first job was the health food restaurant, and then I would go next door. After 3 hours, I would go immediately next door to the health food restaurant, and I would work in the Glenwood Cleaners. It's not there anymore. And I would work there for 4 hours. That constitutes a 7-hour workday without a break. But then from there, I would go around the corner on Fairfield, and I would work in the Episcopal Cathedral in the kitchen. And I would put in about 2 hours of daily maintenance in the kitchen. And it was flexible on how I used that time, because I also was responsible for vacuuming 3 stories worth of hallways. I was responsible for all the stairwells. I was responsible for all the classrooms and the hallway of the 3rd floor. I was responsible for the gymnasium. I was responsible for the parish hall. And I was responsible for the White House, which was the where the kindergartens went to school at this Episcopal church/school. So those were all my duties at the Episcopal church. Now, all this happened every workday. And then, of course, every few weekends, I would be on call to open or keep the church open on weekends for whatever the Episcopals do on the weekend. I don't know. So, you know. And then, what else? Oh, through those connections and through friends of people that I knew, especially around the holiday times, and the holiday times during this particular group of people went on for 4 to 5 months, so half of the year. On top of that, outside of that, I would get these extra jobs. You know, the ladies guild would have a private meeting in one of their houses or something, and so I would be called upon to facilitate that and take care of the kitchen and the service when all that was going on. I got calls, personal requests for this company that's no longer here, Chad Dugan Designs. They were floral and interior design, but they also did special events. And I got, by reputation, I got invited to work for them on quite a few of those endeavors. And of course, I took the jobs every time. And then there was a family that lived out in Belcher, Louisiana. And literally, I would go out and I would work for them, you know. So I did all this. And basically, people enjoyed me, and I enjoyed the people. But the relationship I was in at the time was falling apart. So I need to step into this Timeline Antiques, but is it still open? There's a necklace in here I want to get. I'm going to pause the phone. And maybe I'll be able to continue this. I don't know. Hang on. I think that if they're still open, I'm going to get that necklace I want to get. There's a necklace I want to get. Oh, it's closed. Okay. There's this great emerald rhinestone alligator necklace that is like, or crocodiles or whatever, but Louisiana, so alligators, right? And it kind of goes around, and the two alligators face each other right around the clavicle bone. Okay. That being said, I'm here where I can show you the first storefront. And it's no longer here, Ethereal Cafe. But I'm going to take you and show you the front door. Anyway. Basically, I don't think it hurts to go back and relive and look over some stuff to see what's become of it. Shreveport Biscuit Company. I don't know. But anyway, this was the store. So whoever CC Harmon and Company is, I don't know. But that was Ethereal Cafe. Health food restaurant. And they closed down a couple of years after I left. But they were just the sweetest couple. This is the second where I came around the corner. This is Shreveport Ice Cream, their headquarters. They do a lot of ice cream food trucking and stuff. But, I'm getting out of breath too. But, so the thing is that it used to be Glenwood Cleaners. And so that was my second job of the day. 7 hours. After putting in a 7-hour day, then I would walk. Which, that's fine. I don't mind walking. Sometimes I had a car and I would drive, but most of the time I walked. And it's really only 2 blocks up and 1 block over. And I'm not or 2 blocks down. So a 2 block up here and 2 block over. And it's the Episcopal Cathedral and of Northwest Louisiana, you know, and I will say this. The reason why I did all those jobs, it wasn't because, especially with the Episcopal Church, it wasn't for any specific reason. except they lost the lady that was taking care of the third floor. And then there was another gentleman that they lost that did the hallways and the gym and all the other work that I talked about. See, I was hired on to do the kitchen and the parish hall, which would have taken uh, it would have taken the 2 hours of the day. But the other two employees left, and of course there was a full, list of people doing jobs too, but they wouldn't take extra work. Anyway, in short, for a couple of days, that doesn't seem like it's work that you can't do and get done. Over the course of, say a year and a half or 2 years, that much work, and considering the extra work, burnout is not the word for what happens. I literally worked myself into a breakdown. It wasn't the relationship coming apart. It wasn't anything. Because I was in a relationship. Honestly, no. That relationship that I was involved with really stopped being a relationship. And we were roommates, but I should have found an apartment and moved out long before then. But I was working so much that I had no free time to do anything, including apartment hunting. And my whole world was wrapped up in all this little few blocks. So, bittersweet. But I can look back now and I can say my real issue was not having the bright negotiations to be able to say, hey, I am overworking myself and I'm working this job and this job and this job, and which one is going to be consistent. And I needed to make smarter decisions and not think so much about which one of the jobs was I going to be letting down. And then, of course, after I left the Episcopal Cathedral, my immediate supervisor, I won't say her name, began a lot of complaints about me. What do you call it? Monday morning quarterbacking or something like that, like just calling shots after the fact. Various shortcomings and complaints against some of the work that I had done for the cathedral. And it's really because I was one person, but doing the duties of 3 people. And of course, not everything happened, and some of it was I left the job because I was basically, I don't really have much of a reason. I basically was working myself into insanity, really. And so I can remember that, my housemate was also an employee of the Episcopal Cathedral. He was the assistant organist and the choir master, even though I don't think he ever was I'd never really heard him sing. I don't think he enjoyed hearing himself sing, but he loved to play. But he's good, he was good. He's a great musician. But yeah, and he also did a lot of computer tech stuff too. Yeah, and but that situation got volatile, and not physically, but just emotionally volatile, and it came apart. And then of course, like 5 months later, he was taking the job in New Orleans anyway, at the Christ Episcopal Cathedral down there anyway. And I'm not Episcopal, so but oh, one of our parks right here. The house is not here anymore. One of my sisters, maybe that's it. I don't know. I don't think so. But my sister's first apartment with her first husband uh, was on the top floor, and then the bottom floor was going to be a salon uh, by one of her friends that she knew from her church circles. And actually, that person was one of my instructors when I went through cosmetology school. It's great. But this is Columbia Park. And so what's fun about here is to come here and uh, basically, this is just a fun park. We have these parks in our neighborhoods that are wonderful. And this starts out big and then kind of gets narrow, but winding. And from my other videos, you will recognize from the other ends, when we do the with the Highland Blues Festival, it's here in this park, and the ground is soft. I'm really hoping that soft ground that I'm stepping on and not. Yeah, that's cool. I'll just have these shoes I'm wearing are washable, so that's fine. I'm sinking into the earth. Practically quicksand back there. Okay. Yeah, you'll see it. You'll recognize if you watch the videos from the Highland Blues Festival. You'll see the cathedral and this where they play here. Then there's a stage on the other side. It's really kind of cool. I love this gray house there. It's almost it almost looks like a Lego version of a house, and it looks like it's got eyes and a little mouth that's smiling at you. A little gray. I better quit like taking videos, just random things that I like. People will think I'm spying on them for spying. I'm not. But I love this. I love Columbia Park. I have always loved Columbia Park. And I have no idea why I'm taking a detour to walk through here, but this is basically it. There's not... I'm just out walking and burning calories. I feel good. I think I feel good because of that shit they shot my face up with. I'm like, yeah, I love going to the dentist. I wish the dentist could do things for me every day. Yep. Do you remember that Little Shop of Horrors and the original from 1960s? You had like Jack Nicholson going in, and he was the crazy patient. They just loved going. And and then the 1980s version was Bill Murray, and and Steve Martin was the dentist, and he's like, open up, and Bill Murray's like, no, he's just open his mouth with like much bigger, and then he's like, I'm gonna get a candy bar, yeah, candy bar. I was almost like that today. I'm like, I have a friend, when she goes to get a tattoo, she finds she finds it enjoyable in some sort of way. I cannot say that was the experience that I had at the dentist office today, but there was a certain euphoria. But it was because of the anesthesia that they used. But something I want to advise: don't underestimate healthy teeth and gums. You can get sick and have like an abscess in one of your gums, and it be so bad that it get in your bloodstream and turn to sepsis, and sepsis can kill you if it's not caught. So do take care of your teeth. When I was in kindergarten, no, fifth grade. How did I get kindergarten? Elementary school though, Westwood Elementary School. And my best friend, and we were like kind of reindeer games in the park, at recess or whatever. And I caught like an elbow to my frontmost tooth and chipped it in fifth grade. And the entirety of my life, I have been wanting to get it crowned, and nobody would do it. I would go to dentists, and they would say, hey, we can't do it. Well, Dr. Whitty, who I go to now, and I will forever after go to this dentist as long as he will see me and have me. Uh, he gets my loyalty because he crowned the tooth. And so, yeah, I mean, I went through my entire life, and I'm talking about my days as a stage performer and just really just being like self-conscious about my smile because of a minor chip. uh, you know uh, in the long run, the chip probably worked for me. My family has a physical trait where we have uh, one of our front teeth kind of overlaps. It's at a cant, like an angle that kind of overlaps the other tooth, just the one tooth, and kind of the chip that was in it kind of balanced out that corner so it was a lot less obvious. So the chip probably worked in my favor, even though I was still self-conscious about it. But not only, oh, I lost my footing in the gutter there, trying to avoid getting run over by cyclists. But anyway, what um where are they getting at? Oh, yeah. So Dr. Whitty fixed my tooth. He crowned my tooth. He wasn't afraid to do that, and with some, with some amount of precision, because the tooth is nearly perfectly straight. There's a slight forwardness to it, a slight, but just barely. And I don't mind that because, like I said, it is a family trait. We've all got the same smile, So. Anyway, it's comes from the Miller side. Oh Lord, I'm gonna say goodbye, Love and Light. I know these two.